everyone, my name is Abhishek Jain, and through this video I'm just starting a 3-part tutorial series where I'm just gonna explain how can we create a Docker image for a Node.js based application. And in today's video I'm just gonna pick a very simpler Node.js application and I'm just gonna show how we can create a Docker image, and then we will pick the complicated one which actually pretty much similar, like how those Docker image gets created for the production like application on Node.js, right? So as you can see on my screen, I have this server.js, and the very first thing I'm just importing a module HTTP, then I'm defining a port, then I'm just creating a message which is actually I'm just gonna response. So basically this application is just creating a server, right, which is listening on port number 3000, and it is going to send a response back to the user whenever anyone hits this server on port number 3000, right? So then I am just creating a server from this HTTP, and there we have this create server method which actually accept the request handler. So this handle request is my function which I have defined here, accepting 2 parameter request and response, and then it is just response back, then it is giving a response back to the user with this same message variable which we have defined over here, right? So once it's get defined, then I'm just listening on port. So hopefully if everything I have coded correctly, then it should be working, right? So how we run this? So we run this with node server.js. I utilize nodemon also when I'm doing a development, so that if I make any changes, automatically that nodemon will pick that up and restart my server. So it's running on port number 3000, right? So let me just hit the local post 3000 and we should get, yep, so app name, let me just refresh it. So it looks like it's working fine, right? So if I want to create a Docker image for this application which I can ship it, so very first thing which we can do with the Docker image is we can just upload to the Docker registry, and I can just give the image name, and any person who has access to the Docker Hub or any common registry where I have uploaded my image, he can just take that image, run it the way it is running on my machine, right? So let me just, how we can create a Docker image. To create a Docker image, the very first thing is we have to create a Dockerfile, right? Just keep in mind this Dockerfile doesn't require any extension, and the first letter D has to be in uppercase, right? So now we have to define the instruction. Based on that, the Docker daemon is going to create the image for us. So basically we have to define an instruction. So how can we define an instruction? The very first thing is we have to define a base image. So I'm just gonna use node 12. This is my base image and from is my instruction, right? And then I have to just create I want to create an application directory, and this is my, so create node.js app directory. Okay, so how can I create that? I'm just gonna use a run command, and run command requires a command which I want to run. So make dir to make the directory, and I'm just gonna create node.js app. Now I just wanted to change directory to get inside this particular directory which I have created, so work directory, and then I have to give this node.js here, and then I have to just copy my server.js. so I'm just gonna give server.js, and since I am already in node.js, so I'm just giving dot. So let me just put the comment, copying my code server.js, because right now we have only one file to copy, otherwise I would have used asterisk like dot, so it complete stuff is gonna be copied, but right now we don't need that. And now we are just gonna expose my port on expose 3000. So let me just put exposing the port, and then I have to just give the default command, so default execution command. So when I say default, it means that whenever I'm just gonna run the container from the image, this is gonna be my default command. The instruction is cmd, and then I have to give the list of the command line argument, so the way we are executing node, and then we have to give the name of the node.js application file, so node server. So I think we are done. So this is my Docker file. So let me just get to the okay, so let me just stop this. Now we have already created a Docker file. The next thing we have to do is we have to use Docker build command, and I have to define a tag. I'm just gonna give node user. You can give any name, whatever the name you feel like, and then I'm just gonna give this node web app server. Okay, and then I have to give from where this can find the Docker file. So I'm just giving dot since I am in the same directory where we have created. Docker file cannot be empty. It means that I haven't. Oh, it looks like I haven't saved it. So let me just save it, and this time it should be working. Oh, so now it's working. Now we can see how it's just creating an image. So it just picked the very first thing. So we have total 6 instruction. It reads the first instruction, creates some image, and then it's goes to the next instruction, follow that instruction, execute that instruction, and create the another one. And that is how we can see it's just keep creating an intermediate container, and finally we get this particular image. So how can I verify the images? So we can just give a Docker images, and we can see this is the name which we have given, Node Web App Server, right? Next thing, so we have created an image. I mean, image looks good. Now if I want to run this image, how can I run it? So Docker run command, and I have to give a name. I can give same name what I have given the Node Web App Server, and I want to expose. So I'm just using a port. So for port, let me just give 40199. Hopefully this should be free on my machine. And then I have to just give the image ID or the okay, so it should be okay. So it's running on port 3000. It's just showing that it's a container port. Since it's in server.js, it's 3000. That's the reason we are seeing here. But if I just go back here and if I run it, it won't coming, right? So what I have to do here is I have to use 1499. So now this time it's working, because what this p command does is, okay, this is my container port and this is my host machine port on which my container is running. So the syntax is host machine port and then the container port. So my container port where my server listening the request is on 3000, and I want to expose that to the host machine port, which is 40199, right? So now it looks good. Now, so the next thing which I wanted to show you, okay, so if I just get inside this Docker container, so this is my container ID, and if I just give Docker exec command, and I just wanted to show you a few more stuff that would be helpful when we are going to create some Docker image for the complicated application. So right now I am just getting inside the Docker container, and I'm just gonna give bash. Oh, I just copied the wrong container ID. This container ID should be this one. Yep, I could have used my Docker container name as well, right? So if I just put ls-ltr, right? So I'm seeing server.js, and the reason is it's just taking me to the Node.js app, because if I just see the Dockerfile says that the working directory is Node.js app, right? So the next thing is I can go back to one folder, and I can see this is my the underlying operating system on which all the default directories we can see, right? And then we can see Node.js app, which we have created when we were creating a image, right? And if I just go inside this Node.js image, we just copied the server.js, and that's the reason we are seeing only the server.js, right? So that's it from my side for this particular video, and I hope you enjoy and you learn few things. And this is very basic. If you already have these kind of experience, then hopefully the next video will be more knowledgeable for you to get some benefit. But it's a good refresher if you already know about the Docker and Node.js. But if you are a beginner, then it looks like, I just try to be cover all the basics which I can. But if you still have any confusion and still you want the access to any file or any command which I have used in this, feel free to put that in a comment section, and I will do my best to explain or to provide whatever the information you need from my side. That's it from my side, and thanks for watching this, and stay healthy and keep learning a new stuff.